Ghana is a developing country and there are high levels of illiteracy. So until we are a much wealthier economy with higher literacy, food safety is going to be an issue, because as much as the government agencies might want to do, it is about people understanding and implementing those measures. The person I would trust the most to tell me that the food I buy and eat is safe is me. I believe that I am the most knowledgeable person in that area, only because I believe that I read a lot and I try to keep up to date. So I'm very careful about that. Next, I would trust probably the government agencies, because again, they wouldn't make us do anything that's really bad for us. So I would trust them next. The manufacturers, I'm not so sure I would trust in terms of the labeling, particularly when we have the products that come in from overseas that cannot be enforced, that sometimes slip through the enforcement radar. I wouldn't be able to trust those, because we sometimes get banned chemicals that end up in our food here. What I would like to see these government agencies do in order to make me believe that they are starting to do the right thing is communicate better. I believe that one thing we lack here is communication. So if you don't know something, where do you go to get that information? And I find that's the big gap here.
In my opinion, I think the whole distribution chain is responsible for food safety. From the government in the United States, we have the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, and I do know that they are paying attention to food safety, but as with a lot of things, their budget is limited, so I don't think they can do that alone. And so I do think it is also the manufacturers and the farmers, all the way down to the grocer. I want to make sure that I'm going to smaller local stores so they know where their food is sourced from, so that I can put my faith in them that they're taking care of my family. And I also think that the individual is responsible as well. Once you get the food, you need to keep it at the proper temperature. You need to make sure that you're washing it appropriately before you feed it to your family.
Em termos da confiança quanto à idoneidade, à segurança dos alimentos que eu compro, eu confio realmente mais nos órgãos governamentais, que podem aplicar pesadas multas aos produtores. O Brasil, em termos de segurança alimentar, idoneidade ligada aos alimentos, ao acesso dos alimentos, está num caminho de franca melhoria. Só que essa melhoria ela está muito ainda situada em determinadas regiões do país. Às vezes não obrigatoriamente só nas mais ricas, mas nas mais educadas, naquelas que têm acesso realmente à informação, uma informação mais isenta, menos ligada à propaganda. O Brasil tem um longo caminho a percorrer nesse sentido, né?
Well, in my opinion, when it comes to food safety, the government has the biggest responsibility. Obviously, you know, we rely upon retailers to make sure that what they bring to us is the right quality and meets standards. But inevitably, they're buying products from all over the world. And I think that's where the government comes in, because it's to make sure that there's the right sort of regulations and controls to ensure that the products that come into the country meet the standards that we expect here. When it comes to food safety, obviously I tend to use a particular retailer because I can be assured of the quality of the products that we receive. But there can always be a problem. So there's always a reliance upon me as the final consumer. Using your own common sense and senses of smell and sight, you will make that final decision, is that product okay to use?
那我想到这个问题，肯定是政府肯定会决定这个安全，对这个安全最关键的。 超市的大部分超市里面买的，大部分超市里面买的这个猪品，我肯定没问题。哦，就是这个他们肯定政府负责任的，超市蛮大的。我买这个肉啊、鱼啊，这个又说买青菜呀、吃的猪品大部分都是超市里面买的。政府肯定需要我们安全的，我们自己也都回家自己细心做，是不是啊？哦，现在要是做的包装的菜，什么东西现在我们自己种地的也都是打药的，没打药菜不能生产的，是不是啊？这就打早打都那个还都靠政府肯定会负责任的，我们还都自己回家再要是。但是负责任的也是看不到的，是不是啊？就是靠我们自己回家慢慢做，自己要注意安全，是不是啊？哦，要靠我们自己做的。
I think the responsibility for food safety, yes, it is about governments, local, regional, national, central. But let's look at this from another angle. Those of us who buy food have to also be responsible about how we create food safety in the house. When we go to the market and we buy food, then I would expect that the supplier has taken care that, particularly in the case of fresh produce, during transportation, being stored in safe places. Food safety, really the responsibility has to be shared right from the supplier to the dealer to the individual who actually shops for the vegetables and meat and other produce and cooks it. So it's actually, you find a kind of a traceability of food safety. All of us are responsible. It's a shared responsibility, but we have to ensure that these are global standards so that, we can prevent diseases rather than always have to cure them.